Okay. I was actually going to keep quiet about Vaush for a little bit. Yeah, Vaush did it again. Yep. Let's get into it. Let's not even waste too much time. We got good old Vaush talking about religion. And he goes full on dramatard. Absolute complete dramatard. Here we go. Let's listen to this.
Union is more profound than marriage, for it embodies.
We're going to skip past some of this crap.
Protected statuses. That one dissenting conservative judge said, well, if we interpret everything that has the word sex in it to be about sex, then you could say you're not allowed to be fired for anything because it's all protected classes. You couldn't be fired for carrying a sextant. You couldn't be.
I think that's more of a joke. For
misspelling a saxophone. Like, it's just some insane shit. Yeah. Oh yeah, he was saying you can't be fired for sexually harassing somebody else, because that has the word sex in it. Mm-hmm. So firing somebody for sexual harassment would be the same as firing them because they're a woman. This is a Supreme Court. Which one was that, by the way? Which guy was that? I know one of you knows. One of you guys knows. No, I don't think it was Scalia. Very realistic. I don't think it was Scalia. Was it Roberts? Thomas?
Arguments for extending marriage to same-sex couples may be compelling, but legal arguments for requiring such an extension are not. There will be consequences to shutting down the political process on an issue of such profound public significance. Closing debate tends to close minds. Indeed, however heartened the proponents of same-sex marriage might be on this day, it is worth acknowledging what they have lost, and lost forever. The opportunity to win the true acceptance that comes from persuading their fellow citizens of the justice of their cause.
What a piece of shit, dude. Wow. What a fucking piece of shit. But, by getting this Supreme Court case, you've all actually been robbed of the ability... by abolishing slavery.
This is him talking about gay marriage. They're coming after gay marriage next. You know, they took our jobs, but they're coming after the queers. That's basically what this is. This is they're coming after the queers. That's basically what this is. Yeah, he sounds like he's losing his mind. He really is. Yeah. Yeah. The thing is with Vaush, he is absolutely a fedora tipper. I'll just tell you right now, he absolutely tips the fedora. He's like, hashtag not all Christians, hashtag not all, Muslims, but, and it's like, oh boy. I mean, he really, the atheism runs deep with this one. Go ahead.
You've been robbed of the chance of convincing your fellow man that slavery is wrong. By giving women the right to vote, you didn't even argue.
See, the thing is, okay, the thing is, if you were actually a smart leftist, Vaush, when you heard about but of course, I'm sure that he would find some sort of way to weasel out of it. A lot of the suffrage movement in the 1920s, that was for white women. Yeah, he's not going to say that. He's not going to say that. As much as he tries to, capitalize and all the popular, memes and everything else by saying Karen and everything else, he's not going to bring that up. The thing is that, the suffrage rights movement really started out as an extension of, white supremacy and everything else, right? But of course, he's not going to say that. So, because he's a disingenuous jagoff. Go ahead.
Argue the free marketplace idea.
He does.
What a fucking idiot.
Now, if you were among...
It was Robert who wrote the dissent? Okay, gotcha. That's what I thought. Thank you.
The many Americans of whatever sexual orientation who favor expanding same-sex marriage by all means, celebrate today's decision. Celebrate the achievement of a desired goal. Celebrate the opportunity for a new expression of commitment to a partner. Celebrate the availability of new benefits. But do not celebrate the Constitution. It had nothing to do with it.
We don't care about the Constitution. And he says as much later on, but yeah, we don't care about the Constitution. You know? The thing is that there are folks who just don't give a fuck about the Constitution, and there are folks who will give a smokescreen to pretend to give a rat's ass about the Constitution. That's really the only two people that exist in the United States. Period. Go ahead.
Justice Thomas, joined by Alito, shut up! Lashed out. How do I close the player? What the fuck? It just follows me? Jesus.
Have you never looked at an article, idiot?
On Monday at the religious liberty implications of Supreme Court's 2015 decision that cleared the way for same-sex marriage nationwide. Thomas wrote that the decision, Obergefell versus Hodges, enables courts and governments to brand religious adherents who believe that marriage is between one man and one woman as bigots. True.
Wow. So if you support marriage between a man and a woman, they're bigots. That's interesting, because if a black person ever said that, would you call them a bigot too? I know that's kind of a low, that's kind of a straw man argument, but it's like, insert your own group here. Would you call them bigots too? This relates back to when Vaush was really, he was still a Bernie bro. This is before he turned his coat and became Mr. Biden. Mr. Riding with Biden. But back when, the primaries came up, and he was just like, oh, there are black people that don't like transgenderism. Well, fuck them. And I'm just like, woo, that's spicy. Once again, you have to remember is that folks that claim that they care about black folks and, oh, I love black people, or, that's one of his big jokes. I love Jews, this and that. There's always going to be a standard in these folks' minds. You have to remember that. And they cannot take people as they are. They cannot. These are folks, they constantly say it. They're like, oh, the basic bare minimum. And to them, there is a much higher level of being. That's the whole idea that you have to remember. With people like Vaush, I'm not saying all leftists. I'm just saying is that there is a group of people like Vaush who, and a lot of these breadtube folks who just claim that they are holier than thou in the progressive ideas that they preach about. And to me, it's utterly disgusting. But, that's the whole thing. Is that you can talk about, oh, well, friendship isn't transactional, this and that, like he was saying with Destiny. But guess what? You treat things transactionally as well, Vaush. But yeah, go ahead.
Making their religious liberty concerns that much easier to dismiss. Wait, hold on. What? Wait, so ruling that marriage...
Yeah. I've noticed that Vaush seems to fight with his chat a lot. Yeah, he does. So I'm skeptical of him being a grifter. I just think he's stupid. Yeah, he could be. Yeah. Glorious Constitution, the only document that comes before the Bible. Yeah.
Pays no respect to the gender of those who participate in it is actually a violation of religious liberty because it implicitly suggests that the people who believe it's between a man and a woman are bigots. Wouldn't that suggest that the Supreme Court of the United States is an agency designed to preserve the dignity and respect of Christianity and not the...
Man shall not lie down with man. Once again. See, the thing is, he's being very facetious here, I think, as well. Because the United States is a Christian nation. Now, to be honest, it's more based on Protestantism than Catholicism, to be honest. But the thing is, of course, he plays very fast and loose with beliefs and the differences in different forms of Christianity. He plays very fast and loose with that when you get to the end. But of course, it says one nation under God. That's kind of, it's written on the money. So yeah, go ahead though.
Constitution of the United States? What the fuck are you talking about? Your job isn't to come to conclusions that make Christians look as good as possible. Your job is to interpret the law. You aren't interfering with people's religious liberty by...
See, here's the issue though, Vaush. Is that Christian folks in general, whether they be evangelicals, Catholics, Baptists, whichever, are probably a lot better organized and are some of the biggest voting blocs in the country. Of course, he doesn't realize that, or I guess he's just, I guess to him, everyone's progressive and, doesn't really like religion. But the thing is that, Christianity in general has a pretty big block in this country, whether that be Catholics, like I said, or Protestants or Baptists more specifically. But he doesn't seem to care about that. But whatever.
Not letting a religious definition of marriage be the state one. This is literally like separating church and state is actually violating the religious liberty of Christians to take control of the state.
I would love for you to, when the president is sworn in and puts his hand on the Bible, to be sworn in, you don't say a word about that. But the thing is, once again, you wouldn't say anything about anything like that. The thing is, look, maybe I'm just throwing stones at Goliath here, but I feel like this is just very disingenuous how he's speaking here. I just heard this and I was like, what the hell is this? But yeah, absolute nutso in my view. Go ahead.
Thomas's strong opinion came down on the first day of the court's and reflects the fact that critics of the landmark opinion from 5 years ago that was penned by now retired Justice Anthony Kennedy are still infuriated by its reasoning. They believe the court should have left the decision to the political arena and have long said it will infringe upon the rights of those who have religious objections to same-sex marriage. Look at this. And long said it will infringe upon the rights of those who have religious objections to same-sex marriage.
Yeah.
Bro, churches don't pay taxes.
Are you Are you a libertarian? Hold on. Are you like a super statist? I thought you were an anarchist. I don't get this. Like, you're supposed to be an anarchist, right? You're against the idea of the state. But you're like, oh, well, because you don't pay taxes. Does that really mean something? I mean, I don't get this argument. It's like you claim to be an anarchist, of course, and now he's like, it's like, but suddenly it's like, oh, well, because they pay, because they don't pay taxes, fuck them dudes. It's like, what? Is that really the game you playing, homie? I don't get that. Yeah. Article 121. Yeah. Separation of church and state. Yeah. I thought maybe there'd be good faith criticism of Vaush, but this is pausing, saying absolutely nothing. What have I not said? What have I not said, man? What, the wannabe intellectual elitist who only alienates the working class. Well, yeah, okay, well, tell me then. Why isn't it that Vaush doesn't talk about the fact that to be sworn in, you put your hand on the Bible, where a cardinal of the Catholic Church comes up and blesses, and says the prayer and everything else? I don't really get this idea. He supports state expansion right now, since he thinks anarchism is unviable at the current moment. I think, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's probably what it is. But I really don't get that. And of course, I was going to say as well, just an off point, is that Biden is a Catholic. But of course, he says nothing about that. And of course, he's just like, oh, well, not all Christians, not all this. But yeah, absolute faihua. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. If you're a church and you have the legal ability to form a legal union between people, that legal union has to adhere to standards set upon by the government. Okay, I'm really sorry, guys. You don't.
No, you're not sorry though. That's the whole thing. It's like, so the thing is, he was talking about separation of church and state, and he's like, well, but the state gets to dictate these things. It's like, okay, I mean, yeah, the state has done that plenty of times. Look at the Mormon church and, getting rid of polygamy in, I think, the 19th century or the early 20th century. So it's like, what are you even talking about, bro? I'm really trying to make some sense of this here, of what he's trying to get at. It's just it's all over the place, really. But yeah, go ahead.
Don't get to have a fucking tax-free fucking pyramid scheme that you run while also getting the benefit of ensuing religious persecution in your delivery of a legal status. Okay. Supporters of LGBTQ rights are fearful the court is poised to continue a trend from last term, ruling in favor of religion.
I will just say this to you. And this is going to be a little bit of fear-mongering just for a moment, but then I'll move on. Whichever church, whether it's a Catholic church, and this is individual church I'm speaking about, not as a whole, because obviously it's different, but whether it's a Catholic church, whether it's a Anglican church, or whether it's whichever church that allows, female pastors or flies the LGBTQ flag or flies the rainbow flag, I'll just put it this way, is that you are not going to be spared either. If you think that people like Vaush think that somehow just because you fly the gay pride flag means something, it doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. You are still, just because you want to seem progressive, this and that, it's just more stones that will lead you to hell. That's my view. I'm sorry. You can disagree and say, oh, you're reactionary, this and that. That's fine. You can say that. But to me, it will not help you. And people like him will never agree with Christianity, as you will see at the end of this. Go ahead.
Religious conservatives in key cases. The case that prompted Thomas's statement concerned Kim Davis, a former county clerk in Kentucky who gained national attention in 2015. I remember this bitch. And was jailed after declining to issue marriage licenses out of an objection to same-sex marriage. Remember the brave state employee who broke the law by discriminating against people, and people treated her like a hero? The High Court on Monday declined to hear an appeal on her case. Good. Thomas called Davis one of the first victims of the court's cavalier treatment of religion. Kim Davis was a county clerk.
Yeah,
she
that's true.
Broke the law.
Yeah. That's true.
This
I will give you that.
A violation of her freedom of.
I will give you a point on that. But the thing is that that's one case. That's one case. And yeah, that person, I believe, was fired. But go ahead.
Religion. She didn't have any fucking freedom of religion in the capacity of her work. She had a job to do. These Republican or conservative Supreme Court justices don't give a fuck about the Constitution, by the way. The Founding Fathers would be rolling in their fucking
We don't care about what the Founding Fathers have to say. The Founding Fathers, while maybe had some good ideas, ultimately mean bupkis. I'm just going to say it. They mean bupkis today. But yeah. Let me see. Let me take a look at the chat there. Yeah. Everyone in chat in Nosbo. Yeah. No. There we go.
Graves reading this shit. She was an employee of the state. If I'm a fucking Satanist, I don't get to not hand out fucking marriage licenses to heterosexual couples or whatever, okay? If I did that, I would be fired because I'm not doing the job. If I adhere to some crazy religious sect, I don't get to
See, and now here's a potential line. This is just going to be me talking for a minute, but the thing is, this is going to be one of the separations. This is the potential for the breaking up of the United States. It's going to be based on religious lines, and it could be potentially about racial lines as well. But the thing is that, yeah, you will kind of create some theocracies in different areas, right? where, maybe out in the Northeast, you're going to have more of a Catholic sort of theocracy. And then down south, yeah, you're going to have more of a Baptist theocracy, this and that. And even out west, you're going to have your own, you're going to have the church, whichever church you want to say, whether this, I don't know. I'm not going to purposely dab on the Anglicans, but just thinking off the top of my head, they're going to be out there and their church is just going to become whatever. I don't really get this whole type of thing. Yeah, I'm just taking a look. Yeah, Ohio Mormon theocracy. Yeah. I thought that was more Utah, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, even if the founders had good ideas, I find hard to believe they would still apply to modern context. Exactly. A lot of things have changed.
Doing my job in certain respects. You can make this argument.
I think it's interesting too. I'm not saying this is anything other than just interest. Is the United States is one of the only countries that its constitution has not changed. Well, has not changed as a whole since the beginning. We have added, and we've only added, I think, 28 amendments? I want to say 28 amendments to the Constitution. Let me make sure. Let me make sure here. That way I can fact check myself. How many amendments are in the Constitution? Let me see here. Is it? Oh, 27. Excuse me. 27. 27 amendments to the Constitution. So that's not that many, really. I mean, how many times has, even, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to, be a little bit more hypocritical here, but I would say how many times is even with the Cuban Constitution, it's been ratified and changed. I'm not going to say completely, I don't know, and they actually voted on it. It's unheard of in the United States. Unheard of. So I think ultimately there's this line, I think, that with lefties, they don't want to cross. And they'll, there's a line of screw the, there are people like, what's her name? I don't even care about her name. Anyway, there are people who say, yeah, down with the Constitution, this and that. We need to just, come up with harsher laws and everything else. And there are some lefties who are like, well, we need to abide by the Constitution right now, and then maybe we can change it later on. I don't know. It's a very difficult thing. But yeah, go ahead.
Maybe if they're a fucking priest or pastor or something like that. Here. But she's not. She works from the state.
Hey, these part of the country.
That's her job. But warned she will not be the last victims of cavalier treatment of religion. He said her case was not properly presented before the court, but he urges colleagues to revisit the religious liberty implications of the landmark opinion down the road. Dude, marriage is a legal construct. It doesn't matter if it shares a name with the religious construct.
Hold on. Once again, the thing is, you could study the history of marriage, sir. But it is not just, it's a legal construct in this country. But the thing is, there is a history of, people who married for business, to get political connections. Hardly ever it was about love. I don't even like using that word because it's so misused. But the thing is, to say that it's just purely a legal construct is fei hua. I guess there was no such thing as dowries, I guess, in Vaush's world or this and that. Maybe I'm being disingenuous. But I don't really get this whole type of thing where it's just like, oh, well, it's just a legal construct. It's like, saying that race is just a social construct. A lot of black folks would probably be like, what do you think, cracker? And so they're not going to just be like, oh, well, it's just a social I'm so tired of everything being a construct. Golly, go ahead. You see, okay, yeah. So we've got 3 games so far, yeah. That's fair. That's fair about the guy with the guy with the mustache. That's fair. I'm just gonna put it that way. I'm not gonna use his name. I don't feel like it. But yeah, I hear you.
Doesn't matter. marriage is legal. It's designated by the state.
Bruh. That is how it is currently in our current paradigm. But the thing is, there's this actual, once again, there's this thing called common law marriage. And once again, I know that this would probably be him saying, well, still, it's a legal construct. You know, I'm sure that he would find some way to say, but the thing is, though, it's not just a legal construct. Once again, just because you get married does not mean, oh, well, you know, there are people who have open marriages and everything. I know that. Maybe I'm just being disingenuous. Okay. I got to learn to be smarter. I'm just shooting my mouth off, but oh well. Oh well, continue.
Religious liberties give you no authority in refraining to provide marriage licenses to people. He warned that the court had chosen to privilege a novel constitutional right over the religious liberty interests explicitly protected in the First Amendment. That's not what the First Amendment says. Nothing in the First Amendment says that if you're of a certain religion, you don't have to do certain parts of your job. And
okay, let me take a look at the First Amendment. Why not? Let's go ahead and read the First Amendment. That way we can get kind of it. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for redress of grievances. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Revised 1992. What did it say before that? I don't know. Anyway, let's continue. Vaush doesn't understand the difference between system. Yeah, construct is a dog whistle for spook. It really is, yeah. In democracy, yes. In absolute monarchy, divine right, it will be different. Yeah. Vaush doesn't understand the differences between systems. Yeah. Like I say, Vaush is, you know, the thing is that people like him are so trapped in this world that we are in currently. And yeah, we all are to a point. But the thing is, people like me, we're more fluid. And we'll just simply play the game. As long as we have our few little needs met, I don't care. You know, that's the whole thing. I'll deal with whatever system. As long as they don't bother me, then what do I care? Now, that's probably a dangerous precedent. And that's more of a centrist sort of, you know, ignorant sort of normie take. But honestly, that's how a lot of people feel. It's like, well, as long as the government isn't fucking with me, then what do I care? You know? Anyway. Go ahead.
And by doing so undemocratically, the court has created a problem only it can fix. Thomas also noted he agreed with the decision to not take up the case, writing it did not cleanly present important ideas raised about the decision in Obergefell versus Hodges. Oh, that's really nice. So the only reason why Thomas didn't accept the case for Kim Davis is because it didn't cleanly present the important questions surrounding the law that opened the way to making gay marriage legal. Steve Vladek, a CNN legal analyst, said the opinion is a telling and ominous message for the justices' dissent. The opinion lays down a marker that at least some of the justices already view the court's recognition of a constitutional right to same-sex marriage as an affront to religious liberty. God, this place is such a fucking dictatorship, dude. Holy shit. I am so fucking tired of Christians. Holy.
Here we go. This is where he starts with a diatribe. Oh my goodness. And he goes pretty deep. The thing is, oh my gosh, oh, we're so tired of that. Yeah, okay. I mean, if you think that you can survive in a different country, Bacon, I mean, you go right ahead. I mean, I hate to say America, love it or leave it, but that's kind of how I feel. But of course, I mean, here we go with the dramatics. This is just pointless dramatics that he's doing. Go ahead.
Holy fuck. All of my, listen, I know that a lot of edgy atheists or whatever, are like it's out of vogue or whatever, but holy fuck, I despise Christianity. I fucking abhor Christianity, okay?
Yeah, apparently so did Hitler. I mean, he gave lip service to being Catholic, but yeah, it's a whole different thing. But anyway, go ahead.
Individual Christians can be good people, but as an institution, Christianity has been on the wrong side of every single civil rights issue in the history of humanity. Every single fucking time. Christianity is always on the wrong side.
Really? Every time? Okay, I mean, you know, I'm sure that, you know, I could find a Catholic scholar, or I could find, you know, any sort of Christian scholar who would gladly disagree, but I'm not going to sit here and do that. But there are people who are a ton smarter than me who could probably debate that with you and could probably do a fair amount of damage to you, sir. But go ahead.
Every time.
Every time.
The church has beaten down every attempt at earning civil rights. The church has been opposed to trans people. The church has been opposed to gay people. The church was used in defense of slavery. The church has always...
What church? Are you talking about Baptists? Because I don't recall Catholics saying that. Once again, I don't, you know, once again, I'm not that religiously intelligent, but it's like, which church was against? I mean, yeah, as far as I know, even in the Bible, they were against slavery. So it's like, what are you talking about? Which church? Specifically, there's no basis to this whatsoever. This is just completely going off the rails and editorializing. Go ahead.
It's been an institution of religious bigotry. It has always been used to justify it. And why wouldn't it? It's a hyper-traditionalist, patriarchal organization. Why would it not be conservative? There are good churches, and there are good religious people, or whatever. But listen, Frank...
Or whatever. Once again, as I said before, you know, Protestant churches that have female pastors, the ones that have the gay pride flag out front, he said, or whatever to you. So he doesn't care about the fact that you exist. He does not care. I'm just saying, I don't want to fearmonger too hard. I'm just saying that is the truth, at least as I see it. Go ahead.
Frankly, religion, monotheistic religion, is literally like a deified version of ultimate hierarchy. You literally believe your entire life, all morality, and all of the universe is oriented around the rigid and deterministic perspective of one entity. Of course, religion is always going to be used as a tool to oppress. That's how it works. Yeah, the church was against poor people being taught to read, too, because if poor people could read, it would take away from the power of the clergy, who could read Latin and would read...
Hold on. Let's go back a little bit. Okay, there we go.
Religion, monotheistic religion, is literally like a deified version of ultimate hierarchy. You
Give me a break with your paganism, okay? Can you give me a break? Okay? The Roman Empire converted to Christianity, okay? The Eastern Empire, which lasted quite a long time, you know, it lasted... Well, let me make sure. Eastern Empire here. As the Byzantine Empire, let's see, how long did the Byzantine Empire last? 330 AD to 1453. And that was based on Christian ideas. Now, of course, like I say, I'm not going to sit here and go Deus Vult. But it's like, once again, the argument has been settled. Paganism is cringe. You know, these these multiple different gods that were in Greece, whatnot, you know, the Ares, the god of war, this and that. That has been relegated to the dustbin of history. I don't care what people like Varg say. I don't care what these other folks who want to go on about Gaganism is, aka paganism. That, you know, that stuff has been lost, you know. Hinduism, you know, once again, he opens his mouth and shoots his mouth off about monotheistic religion. And of course, then he says, well, then Hindus are bad too, and everything else like that. I mean, just go ahead. It's gonna get worse. Here we go.
Literally believe your entire life, all morality, and all of the universe is oriented around the rigid and deterministic perspective of one entity. Of course,
Father, Son, Holy Ghost. I count 3, but go ahead.
religion is always going to be used as a tool to oppress. That's how it works.
Yeah. That can work the other way too.
Yeah, the church was against poor people being taught to read too, because if poor people could read, it would take away from the power of the clergy, who could read Latin and would.
That's interesting. I guess this thing called the Dark Ages, where, you know, the Catholic Church had, people that actually learned to read, because a lot of the colleges, college I don't think was the same type of thing before, but it's like, you mean all those folks that were educated through Catholic missions and everything else like that? I guess that was Fei Hua. Go ahead.
Read out the Bibles during sermons. What do you mean the church which fucking won? You can play semantics if you want. For Catholicism,
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Go ahead.
It's obviously referring to the institution of the Catholic Church. For Protestantism, it's more of the evangelical Protestant base as a whole. Evangelical Protestants in this country are death cultists. They're horrid. They represent the most fanatically conservative.
Here we go. This is why he doesn't talk much about religion. This is why, because he knows that he is nothing more than people like the Amazing Atheist or any of those other folks. He hasn't evolved. He still wants to live in this sort of, fedora tipping world. And of course, the thing is that these go ahead. I will let him speak for himself.
Conservative portion of this country. They've been on the wrong side of every single civil rights issue for centuries. And what's more, their strongest political impetus seems to be about denying.
I guess Martin Luther King wasn't really a Christian. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's individuals. That's not the whole church. Go ahead. Sorry.
Human rights. Like, that's what really gets them off, remember how when Trump moved, when he moved the embassy over in Israel, he commented that the evangelical Christians were more excited than the actual Israeli people were. You know why? Evangelical Christians are of the belief that, among other preconditions that need to be met, if the chosen people, the Jewish people, live back in their homeland, they will essentially be sacrifices to the next coming of Christ, to the rapture. That is something they actually believe in their heads. They actually.
Huh? I think that's all believers. That's not just Jews, sir. That's everybody that believes in Jesus Christ. So I don't really get this whole type of thing where it's just like, oh, well, it's all Jewish people. No, that's. Whew. Okay, go ahead.
Believe that. You've seen Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, or like
I say, that's not me defending evangelicalism at all, but at least if you're gonna talk some shiznit, please get it right. At least. Oh, yeah. Would he disavow digging up nuns? Yeah. We've been, yeah. Priests got educated, yeah. You don't think it's possible that the universe itself is God? Dark Ages. Once again, that's a misnomer. The Dark Ages is a misnomer. The thing is that once again, that was, a lot of folks were taught at Catholic churches, sir. Once again, I don't really understand what you're trying to say here, but I mean, once again, did you come back in time from 2014 and decide to come in here? I appreciate that. Welcome to 2020. Welcome to 2020. I'm glad you are, here. Yeah. Science seems to suggest the universe is eternal and the Big Bang is just one part of the process is cyclical. Okay. Well, all right. All right. Yeah. Once again, I'm not some die-hard, religious person. But yeah. They were taught until they were 12 if they were lucky. No, that's not true at all either. Let's go ahead and take a look at this right quick. I'm going to just be Vaush here for a moment. But yeah, let's see here. Dark Ages Catholic education. Let's go ahead and see here. Why not? Let's go ahead and talk about that. And of course, let's see here, Britannica.com. Let's go ahead and take a look at that instead of Catholic education, because obviously there's a big bias, right? Let's try not to be biased. Let's not try to have confirmation bias. Let's go ahead and see here. Found its adherents among the poor and illiterate, making little headway, as St. Paul observed. Among the worldly wise, the mighty, and those of high rank. But during the 2nd century CE, the Greek fathers, especially the Christian Platonists, sought to prove that the Christian view of the universe was compatible with Greek thought, and even regarded Christianity as a culmination of philosophy, to which the way must be sought through liberal studies. Without a liberal education, the Christian could live a life of faith and obedience, but could not expect to attain an intellectual understanding of the mysteries of the faith, or accept to appreciate the significance of the gospel as the meeting ground of Hellenism, as Judaism, St. Augustine, and St. Basil tolerated the use of secular schools by Christians, maintaining that literary and rhetorical culture is valuable so long as it is kept subservient to the Christian life. The Roman theologian Tertullian. Okay, and I'm not going to read everything yet, but let's see here. So Constantine, of course, 313. This is the Byzantine Empire, who had been converted to Christianity, stopped the persecution of Christians and gave them the same rights as other citizens. Christians also set up catechisms. I know how to say catechism, but anyway. Okay. For the religious instruction of adults who wish to be baptized. Of these schools, the most famous one was the one at Alexandria of Egypt. Okay. Let's go ahead and see here. Becoming more formally organized and in the Latin-speaking Western Division, Catholic Church, as it was beginning to be called from the Catholicos, the whole, developed an administrative pattern based upon that of the empire itself. Schools began to be formed in the rudimentary cathedrals, although the main centers of learning from the 5th century to the time of Charlemagne in the 8th century were in the monasteries. Prototype of Western monasticism. Monastic schools, however, are no more significant in the history of education than the schools founded by bishops. Well, I don't really see this whole idea that, only through the age of 12. I would say that it's the same type of thing with the United States here in secular society. We are only taught up through grade 12, which brings us to about the age of 17 or 18, depending. Some people graduate at 16 years old, if they're smart enough. But it's like, that's all that's required. College is not a requirement. You can go to college, or you can go to trade school, or you could try to just make it on your own and then, go back to school or whatever the case may be. So it's not required to do that. So, I don't really get that argument. But I'm just going to go ahead and I tried to at least be somewhat good faith here. But you know what? I have moved on. 12 and 18 is pretty different. Writing was something only monks did. Really? Only monks did that. Books could only be afforded by the state of apparatuses like the church. I don't really know. I'm going to go ahead and let y'all go ahead and talk. Let's go ahead and finish this up. 5 more minutes, but we're probably, go ahead.
Country of a mistress, they were going to sacrifice it to make a god dude or whatever, Know what I'm talking about? That. They're doing that to Israel. That's what they think they're doing, Let me ask you a question, okay? If a person in their head, genuinely believed they had the ability to kill a person by doing this with their hand and pointing it at them and going, "Pah," if they really genuinely believed that, what would you think? How would you feel if they did that to you? Is there any difference from the perspective of their moral character?
What?
Between them having done that and them having fired an actual gun? Because to them, both of those instances had the exact same likelihood of ending in your death. That's what they're doing right now. Yeah, it's like pulling a trigger you think is loaded. Exactly. Like if they picked up a gun that was empty, that's a better example. If there's a gun you know is empty and they pick it up and they point it at you and they fire, is that what does that make them? That's what they're doing to the Jewish people right now. They claim, very anti-Jew, very pro-Israel. Why pro?
Really. Once again, has he studied Judaism at all? No, he has not. He has his preconceived notions. He does not wish to understand the history of these religions at all. I don't understand Judaism either. I'm not going to claim to. But I imagine that, the Talmud and the I'm trying to be fair here. And the Torah, people spend their whole lives studying these types of things. But of course, people like you claim to like, once again, he'll be at the end and say, I love Jewish people. But you don't love the fact that they're religious. So once again, I mean, it's kind of the same type of thing where Christians will say, hate the sin, love the sinner type of thing, right? It's kind of the same type of thing. You'll claim to like the person, but you don't like the fact that they are religious. So if someone's, whether it's conservative Judaism, whether it's reformative Judaism, or whether it's whichever, Hasidic or whatever the case may be, he gives lip service to this idea because he doesn't want to appear anti-Semitic. But the thing is, he still doesn't like religion as an institution, no matter what form it takes, whether it's Christianity, whether it's Islam, whether it's Buddhism. I imagine he doesn't like, certain aspects of Buddhism if he ever studied it, or Taoism, or, Judaism. So, take it for what it is.
Israel is a little box they can put all the Jews in because they think the rapture is going to come. They think all the Jews are going to be consumed in holy fire and that it will bring about the coming of Christ. This drives American foreign policy.
He's not completely wrong on this point. Once again, I'm not going to completely disagree with him. He is correct. Yeah. There are a lot of evangelicals that exist. Yeah. And they believe that, the coming Christ will happen. But like I say, he's still being very disingenuous, at least in my opinion. Go ahead.
There are serious diplomats who spend years of their lives now.
I think the teachings of Jesus are the most part very good, but I think the church as an entity has its own self-interests. Yeah, they don't want to get destroyed and they want to have as many followers as possible. That's the same thing with people like Vaush. It's all about winning hearts and minds. I don't really. Yes, and the Talmud is apparently an in-depth explanation of the Torah, and you need to learn Hebrew beforehand. Yeah. And within the Talmud, I think you have books like the Mishnah and everything else, and then you have like Talmudic law. Very complicated stuff. And of course, this has evolved through time, but it's like, Christians don't want to sacrifice Jews to God because they hate Jews, because that will usher in the end of times, which will be the painful end of all suffering for believers. Yeah. Would you point the loaded gun at someone if it meant that you would never suffer in any way again? Yeah. Like I say, this is... The thing is, it's like... Once again, I think it's just about... It's the idea of appropriation, isn't it? It really is, ultimately. It's this idea that, well, Jesus was really a socialist. Or paganism shouldn't be something that Nazis use. Or... whichever, or libertarianism is something that actually comes from the left. And, people like Murray Rothbard took it. It's like, it's really about appropriation. Who would they side with? Who would these historical figures go with? Well, Jesus Christ was actually a black man, or whatever the case may be. I mean, I don't really care because that's race idolatry. But the thing is, I really don't get this whole type of business where basically it's, they would have been on my side. It's the same thing when people talk about Albert Einstein. It's like, well, Albert Einstein was a socialist. Once again, you just want to appropriate these people to make it a good talking point so that you could bring people over to your side. You don't actually care about these people or what they did. You only care about what it can get you at the end of the day. It's opportunism. I don't really understand the hypothetical, but no. I turn the other cheek. If someone broke into my house, I'd spend the night. If they wanted to call me crazy, well, if you want to say that, okay. What's your position on esoteric Christianity and the bending of old traditions with Abrahamic faith? I have no idea. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm just going to claim ignorance on that. I have no idea. But yeah, same as Islam, you need to learn Arabic beforehand. Yeah. It's a very complicated thing, but I think ultimately it's about appropriation. It's about how you can use certain figures to get more people in. Now, I say that obviously from my standpoint because I'm a marketer. So that's how I see it. Yeah, Jesus was a socialist, though. He would shoot pagans. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and continue. We're almost there.
Navigating foreign policy for the explicit intent of bringing about the apocalypse. This is the country that I live in. This is the country a lot of you live in.
This is like that's like saying, you see who I'm married to? You see who I'm married to? Go ahead. See, the thing is, though, look, but when you hear this, just know that if you think that he's going to have some sort of compassion for other religions, let's listen to this.
This is real. This isn't a joke. We live under death cultists.
Here we go.
Christians are far more of a threat to the world than the Muslims by exponential degrees. When it comes to the fact that America is leading the world and fucking us all over on climate change, when it comes to the fact that America's foreign relations, its policing of the world has led to a geopolitical context where we are closer now to the doomsday clock than we have ever before. These are Christians in America. These are American Christians who back this. These are this is our holy war in Iraq. Trump claiming there are two books that matter to him: The Art of the Deal, the Bible. Yeah. Oh yeah, evangelicals are the worst of them. But let's not fool ourselves into believing
Here
that
we go. Here we go. Go ahead.
Evangelical Christians don't also participate in a structure that emboldens the evangelicals. If there weren't non-evangelical Christians, the evangelicals would be called cultists. The fact that there are so many hundreds of millions of decent Christian people is the cloak, the guise, the evangelicals
Once again, he says that there's all these good Christians, but still, go ahead.
get to wear. And there are also a lot of non-evangelicals who are pretty terrible people too on account of the religion.
Once again, this is a guy who has basically become a left-wing Ben Shapiro, where it's like facts and logic. Where do you base any of this off of? What sort of research have you done? Is there a study that you read somewhere that says, oh, well, you know, this group of Christians, this is stuff that this is anecdotal Andy. This is what he always says about people who use anecdotes. It's absolutely anecdotes that he's saying here. And yet, everyone disagrees. Apparently, go ahead.
But Muslims believe that Jesus will return to defeat Satan. Yeah, well, put Muslims in charge of the most dangerous country on the planet, and we'll see we'll see. Listen, it's not an essentialist thing. If you
here we go.
made Jews like the runners of the world the way Christians are, then I think
So hold on. Go ahead. Let me think.
they'd probably be potentially just as dangerous. Same with Muslims. Same with.
So all that charity that he was trying to say is that, oh, well, you know, I care about Jews in Israel. That stuff goes away, doesn't it? He completely undoes his point by talking about Jews in Israel, by being sent over by evangelicals. But then he's like, well, they'd be just as bad, wouldn't they? They'd be just as bad as the Christians. So would the Muslims. This is, once again, is this 2014? Do we still have the fedora tippers? Go ahead.
With maybe not Sikhs, but Hindus certainly. There is I just don't like what religion does to people.
Yeah, maybe it's because people are raised in it and they feel like they've been saved from it. You know, when you spend a lot of your life learning these beliefs, regardless of how you feel about them, Vaush, I would think that you, being more of a progressive person and trying to understand people's ideas, that you would have some compassion for these people's beliefs, but you have none. You have none. And first it was just, well, more Christians, but then it all comes out where you just think that, Jews and Muslims are going to be just as bad. So what sort of compassion do you really have? Go ahead.
Sikhs are chill as hell. Sikhs are chill as hell. What about liberation theology? Yeah, like I said, people in chat are mad because you keep thinking like, well, I'm a good religious person, or well, I know a good religious person. No. How many Christians do you think believe in liberation theology and practice it? How many can you think? Is it 20 to 30% of them? Or is it like a fraction of a single percent? You know what I mean. Anyway, I try not to talk about religion too much because I know it triggers people. There are a lot of people watching. A lot of you guys are going to be religious. It's going to come off as a personal attack. I don't know. I don't care. Listen,
Once again, he just says this is why he doesn't talk about religion, because he's so shit on it. And the thing is, once again, his whole mission right now is to bring people into the left, all these liberals and all these soak Dems, and get them in, and make them left wing, make them radicalized to the left. And yet, what does he do? He shows that, a huge blind spot by just dabbing on all religions and just saying, well, Hindus are cool. And I bet, or excuse me, not Hindus, excuse me, Sikhs are cool. But of course, if he actually studied Sikhism in any way, I bet you that he would be mad as hell about it. But yeah, go ahead. Ugh.
I attack people who play JRPGs. I attack anime viewers as an anime viewer. Listen.
Now he's trying to downplay it once again. So he's trying, once again, all the fear mongering that he did for the past 18 minutes here, roughly, or about 17 minutes, roughly. And now he's trying to downplay it. Oh, well, I shit on RPG players, I shit on anime folks, but I still watch anime. Go ahead.
It's all taken in good fun, good spirits, and
it's just a joke, bro. It's just a joke. I didn't mean what I said. That's somewhat, maybe I'm being disingenuous here, but that's what it sounds like to me. I don't know. Go ahead.
Actively reflect on the fact that there's a very real possibility that the court is going to be debating the legitimacy of same-sex marriage sometime again in the next 4 years. There, let's focus on the things that matter.
Yeah. Okay. You can't. No. I really don't believe this idea but he has nothing against Christians personally. That's absolute nonsense. No, once again, he has as he said before, is that he does not like Christianity. Once again, there's this false idea that it's like, oh, it's not all Christians. We just don't like the church. If they just rebelled against the church, then they would be good people. How that's like saying, well, if I got, it's like you should rebel against your father, this and that. Oh, well, you're going to take care of me if they kick me out of the house? It doesn't work that way, does it? Doesn't work that way, So this idea, once again, oh, well, I don't think that, yeah. I think he has a problem with the church. I know, I'm not, I never said that you were speaking for him. But the thing is, though, this is, once again, going back to the point of hate the sin, not the sinner, right? So this idea that he will bash on Christians and then say, oh, not all Christians are bad, but I'm a good Christian. But, basically is that, if as he said, as his chat was saying, the liberation theologists and everything else, that they are minuscule and basically a few bad apples ruin the barrel. Yeah, that's your impression. That's your impression, I guess. I don't believe that at all. Once again, it goes to show that he has made his mind up. And this is the same type of thing that people like, dare I say it once again, I know that there are legitimate people who consider themselves Marxist-Leninists in this chat. What is my exact stance? My exact stance is that religion is always going to exist in some form, and this idea that he is so virulently, excuse me, this view on Christianity in particular is an abomination. I'm just going to say it. The thing is that, I consider myself more of an agnostic, but the thing is, this idea that you would, that he's so hateful to Christians, regardless of how you feel or about, the very real possibility or the real, public policy that is put in place. That sort of hatred, and you can make your excuses all you want to, but that doesn't make sense. When and how did Vaush hurt you such that you are so hilariously petty when it comes to him? How am I petty? How am I petty? I just don't think that he's, once again, I'm trying to look at this from a pragmatic point of view. How is he bringing people in by dabbing on Christianity? Can you explain that to me? Now, I'm just a mere marketing student, but really, you want to be able to bring people in and to, whisper sweet nothing so that you can bring them in, right? How is he doing that? How is he doing that, right? Can you explain that? I mean, yeah, somebody, yeah. If this is his view on religion, I'm curious to know how he feels about proletarianized religion. Yeah, exactly. I really don't get this whole type of thing where it's just like, let me ask this guy 1234 1234 and Dylan, are you fans of Aaron Ra? I just want to ask you. You think he hates religious people because he's opposed to organized religion? How can you be how can you be against organized religion and not also hurt the people of that religion? Can you explain that to me? You can't be against organized religion and then not dislike some of the people as well. That's like saying, oh, well, I don't like the mob, but there are good people in the mob. Maybe that's a bad view, but it's like, oh, it doesn't work that way. You've never heard of him? Okay. So I don't get that. How can you be opposed to an organized religion? Are religions not made of people? So the thing is, you go to war with religion. You go to war with people who propagate that religion, right? Right? I mean, that's pretty common sense, I would think. And then they will put a new pope in place. Sometimes love hurts. I think sometimes love murders, I think is what you're talking about. I'm against post-grunge music, but I don't think its fans are bad people. Yeah, but someone's got to propagate that. You see what I'm saying? The fans are people that bring it up, right? So I don't really get this whole idea. Yeah, it's funny because, yeah. No, people break off. I mean, if you want to do that, yeah, make sure the problem is, yeah, if you want to make sure the Pope is a communist, go ahead. But, the thing is that there's just going to be, break-offs and sets. I mean, just like traditional Catholics exist and everything else. So I don't really get that. But go ahead. If you think that's going to work, all right. I don't really get this whole idea where it's just like, oh, well, sometimes love hurts, bro. Really? I don't really, how is that a response to what I said? I don't get that. Maybe I'm just too low IQ, and that's fine. I admit I'm not that intelligent, but I really don't get how this helps getting people over to the left as Vaush does, as Vaush has said. How does that help? Setting people apart and, just saying that, well, America is destroying the world, this and that. How does that build socialism? How does that build class consciousness? Yeah. Yeah. Did I hear? Yeah. So you would ride just as hard for every other religion? Yeah. As best as can be said, but yeah. Yep. That is true about the Pope. Yeah, the current Pope. But the current Pope also said as well is that basically tax evasion is. He didn't say it was a sin, but he said something else. So I'm like, religion can divide, but can also bring people together as well. It can do both. You can do two things at once, right? Once again, let me ask you this then. Has the idea of, let's put it this way. Has there been any other force that can bring people together? Yeah. Once again, that was your point, though, where you say that religion divides people, but then you say, can't that be said of anything? Well, then you answered your own question. Why did you ask the question? Doesn't make any sense, does it? Vatican II is total heresy. I don't trust Catholic teaching after it. Yeah. Catholics don't don't take the Pope seriously anyways, including this one. Yeah. Yeah, Vatican II, I think that was in the 1960s, basically. It's a complicated situation. Unless you're Catholic, I don't understand all the details of it. I'm not going to, get into that. But yeah, I would just say I don't really get it. Yeah, sending thoughts and players of the Vatican heresy. Oh, Lord. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Yeah. Yeah. I don't really get it. I'll be honest with you. I guess if the thing is, once again, I remember saying this in a video to an atheist a while back, but the thing is that Catholicism, or more specifically, a member of the clergy, was the one that really invented the idea. Once again, Gregor Mendel, Mendelian genetics. Gregor Mendel was a priest. You're probably going to turn Catholic? Well, I probably will too, because I'm in Mexico. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, Mexico is a pretty Catholic place. And, as I was watching a series of videos about the narcos in Mexico, they have a patron saint as well. But yeah, Catholicism can be turned to a lot of different things, just like any religion can. I don't really get this whole idea where it's just like, oh, well, I dislike organized religion. Oh. It's like, go ahead, I guess. But the thing is, that's like saying, well, I dislike that college. I dislike that college because, reasons, I guess. It's like, or, I don't hate him, but I hate his family. That's the same. To me, that's what it's like. Maybe that's being disingenuous, but I feel like, I don't hate him, but I hate his family. It's like, well, he was raised by his family, so ultimately he's going to still have some of those beliefs. So that's why I don't get the whole argument of, I'm against organized religion, but not the people. It's like, well, if you want to see the church as a family, they're still going to have some of those beliefs. Same thing even with people like Felix Dzerzhinsky. Felix Dzerzhinsky, of course, being Polish, he was Catholic. And so his Catholicism, his beliefs in Catholicism did not completely go away. So while he was perfectly happy killing, getting rid of people that were, reactionaries or people that were, stopping or, impeding the revolution, there was a point where he was just like, no, we're not going to be killing priests like that. And he felt bad about it. So I've heard. Once again, I need to find that sort of idea, but yeah. Catholic Orthodox household, so yeah. And that's my view. That's my view anyway. Like I said, I can disagree with folks. I'm not going to sit here and go on and on. Was I coping a little bit? Yeah, maybe so. But I still feel like, I don't know, it is what it is. I wasn't raised Catholic. I wasn't raised as anything, But yeah, I'll keep it there. I'm just saying it's a complicated situation. And when people like Vaush, regardless of what his fans say, or regardless of what, some of these folks say, it's, ultimately when he's just like, well, I talk shit about anime folks and this and that. It's like people, would the world be better off without religion? I don't think it would. People would, yeah. I'll see you later, Union Army Ball. No, I don't think it would. You can go ahead and do that experiment if you want to, but I don't want to be involved with that. I think a lot of folks aren't as religious as it used to be. Yeah. Okay, if you say so. If you say so, I don't really get why this is like Vaush. I mean, the thing is, I mean, yeah, he's gonna grow bigger, and he's going to have more. You're Hindu, okay? I know nothing about Hinduism, so I'll just leave that there. But yeah, I have nothing against religion, but I think it can lead people to be uncritical thinkers. It's a matter of opinion. Like I say, I mean, that's your assumption. I mean, the thing is, like I said, Gregor Mendel, the founder of Mendelian genetics, was a priest. And I know, but that's an anecdote. I get that. But nonetheless, though, to say, oh, well, Catholic atheist, no contradictions here. Yeah. I mean, it's a matter of opinion. I mean, do colleges build critical thinkers? It's a matter of opinion, isn't it? Until you come up with some actual hard research that you'll do over the next 15 or 20 years, then yeah, I'm just saying it can 100% of the time. Not that it does 100% of the time. Yeah, I know. There are plenty of openings, but the thing is, you want more of a majority belief. That doesn't mean 100%. That just means, you know what, religious people being more critical thinkers, being what, maybe what, 60% versus, you know what, you're aiming for 80 or 90%? Or let me be charitable. Let's say 70%. You want to close that gap? Once again, it's another form of control, isn't it? No religion consists of dogma. What? Yeah. Dude who made the Big Bang Theory was Catholic. Oh, really? See, like I say, it's a complicated issue. And, you know, like I say, I've admitted my bias in being an agnostic. But the thing is to say, oh, okay. Oh, okay. You had the comma there. Okay. I just want to make sure I saw that right. Okay. No religion consists of dogma. Yeah. But the thing is, though, is that there is dogma, or at least it's not called that, but there are beliefs just like in capitalism. You know, it's like if you went to it's like something that they've taught us here, you know, being at a business school, where debt is cheaper than equity, right? So it's good to have debt. Of course, the reality is that, you know, you have companies like I say, my teacher was discussing this yesterday, where Chick-fil-A has no debt. They rather pay off all the debts because that's one of the most positive things about at least Christianity. They don't want you to have debt. They want you to pay everything off. They don't want you to be, you know, and I know these beliefs get messed up, and yes, they get, you know, twisted in time. I realize that. So I'll agree with you that, yeah, there are some good tenets. Yeah. Being humble and not having debt and not building it up. But yeah, all this universalism is just enabling global capital. Yeah, it really is. It really is. The thing is that you will find with atheism a lot of the time with atheists, at least in this world, in the Western world, is a lot of them are just capitalists. They, you know, or the thing is, a lot of atheists too, like people like Vaush, I noticed he didn't mention Buddhism because, of course, a lot of atheists, people like Richard Dawkins, they flock to Buddhism or they flock to Taoism. And these atheists get so tired of the cringe from atheists themselves, or get tired of, you know, all this sort of stuff. So they instead, as leftists would say, be adventurists. And so they study about Taoism, or they study about Buddhism, and they say, Buddhism is such a nice religion. It's not like Christianity. It's not like Christianity. It's not so awful and horrid, you know. Or, you know, people trying to say that Taoism is linked with anarchism. And of course, these folks have never been to China. These folks, you know, read some Tao Te Ching, or they read, whichever book. Maybe they read, some of Lao Tzu's works, translated into English, and suddenly they think, well, I'm a Taoist. Yeah, I mean, once again, you have to go to the source of things to understand. But yeah, it's just, that's one of the kind of the petty things. It's not really atheism. It's just, I don't like Christianity. Atheism, in a lot of ways, is just code for I don't like Christianity. But any religion that dabs on Christianity, or that seems a little bit cooler to me, that allows me to live the life that I think I should live, is okay. To me, that's what atheism really means. It's just, I don't like Christianity. I want to live how I want to, and I don't want to be held down by anybody. That's at least my view. Is that ignorant? Of course it is. But that's how I feel. As an atheist, yes, we admire Buddhism in a way because it's not really a religion, it's secular. That's the problem I have. Buddhism is not just some secular philosophy. People have died for Buddhism. People have died in the name of Buddhism. The thing is, you could get into Gautama Buddha, or you could, get into, the Heart Sutra or something like that. It's not just a philosophy, but that's all I'm saying, post-gospel. You can have your beliefs, but this idea that Buddhism is just some Western or some secular philosophy, no, that's not true at all. I recommend reading more books on the topic. No, I'm not riding with Biden. No, I'm not. Yeah, maybe I will. I have the Catholic Study Bible. Maybe I'll read that a bit more. But yeah, in terms of atheism, at least right now, I really don't want to read about atheism. I've seen enough of their cringe already. People like Richard Dawkins, or whatever the case may be. Of course, it's just like anything else, is that, all these so-called atheists who are big fans of Sam Harris or Richard Dawkins, a lot of those folks left. Yeah. So what's the answer to why Vaush doesn't talk about religion? He doesn't talk about it because he is virulently against it. Yeah. Are there gods in Buddhism? There are individual people who can be taught. Yes, there are. There are, it's like, for example, it's like, look at Chinese Buddhism. You can get into Guan Yin, for example, a female god as well. I believe that, once again, with Chinese Buddhism, it blends into Chinese folk religions. So you get into Guan Yin, or you'll get, I can't think of them offhand. I really can't, but there are, yeah. Just keep reading stuff and don't get stuck in a bubble. All right, okay. All right, if that's what you want to say, then, yeah. Yeah, I'll keep reading stuff. I got plenty of stuff to read. Divinities in Buddhism, since they have a concept of nirvana and hell, is it not okay to be anti-religion? No. I don't believe. Once again, what does that mean to be anti-religion? What does that mean? Because people can just say that and be like, "Oh, we just don't like organized religion." Once again, I'm going around in circles. Speaking of Buddhism, it feels like I'm going around the circle of life. I think that there is the wheel of life. I believe that let me make sure. Wheel of life Buddhism. I think that's what it is. Yep, wheel of life Buddhism. Speaking of that, yeah, I'm not going to try to say that. I'm not going to try to say that at all. But yeah. Cyclic existence, found on the outside walls of Tibetan Buddhist temples and monasteries in Indo-Tibetan religion. Okay. In the Indo-Tibetan religion. Yeah, once again, this is Tibetan Buddhism. This is not taught. Yeah, this is Theravada religion. Theravada Buddhism. Because, there are so many different sects, SECTS, of Buddhism. Because you can get into, Chan Buddhism or Zen Buddhism. That's the same thing, I believe. Double check it. But yeah, Chan Buddhism is what is taught in China. Zen Buddhism in Japan, as far as I know, it's the same thing. You can get into Theravada Buddhism. Then you can get like land Buddhism. Or Brahmins and everything else. So it's, yeah, like I say, I'm getting into the weeds here, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, no problem. That's fine. Yep. See you later. Like I say, I have my beliefs. It is what it is. We're not all going to agree. And that's fine. That's fine. People are free to agree and disagree and everything else. That's the way it goes. But yeah, I guess we'll keep it there. Like I say, apologies for my voice. I don't know. I don't seem to have a cold, but yeah. Zen is also in Korea. Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Yes, Buddhism does have extremes, yeah. I'm sure you can, yeah. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, for me, obviously being the American that I am, you think of Shaolin Temple, Of course, I mean, that's strictly for Chinese Buddhism, and that's how it evolved. They even defended one of the kings, but yeah. Yeah, that is true. That is true. That he would, yeah, the Buddha, Gautama Buddha was not a god or prophet. That's true. But the thing is that he came from royalty, this and that, and he eventually gave up, his sins and everything else. Basically he was a bad boy and he, smashed a lot of chicks and whatnot. Yeah, I used to attend a Zen Buddhist temple many years ago. Oh, okay. But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that is true, though. They do. Yep. See you later. See you later, GSP. Yep. I think we'll go ahead and end it here. Like I say, we've had our talks and everything else like that. I know that, okay, well, you're free to love him all day. That's fine. I'm not going to sit here and change that. People have their beliefs. I'm not going to cope about it too hard or get all spurgy. There's no point in that. I'm a bit older. People have their beliefs. Go from there. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed that. Apologies. I'm sure the people will downvote this and say I'm being too reactionary or this and that. That's fine. People can do that. They can do that all day. So I'll leave it there. Y'all have a good night. And I'm just going to say it. God bless. Amen. There you go.